Today we have a special video for you as we dive into the world of ultra-portable typewriters. I don't know about you, but I've always dreamt of owning a typewriter that I could take with me anywhere, anytime. But let me tell you, my dream has often been shattered by some harsh realities. That's why today I want to discuss 5 of the slimmest ultra-portable typewriters ever made. However, I must warn you, this video is not going to be all sunshine and rainbows. We're going to talk about why these typewriters may tempt you, but also why you should think twice before even investing in them. Before we jump into our list, I want to clarify that we won't be including typewriters like the Hermes Baby or Rocket with metal frames and the Olympia Splendid models. While they are flat, they're not as thin as the typewriters we're about to discuss. These are well-built typewriters and known for their durability and reliability. So let's keep them aside for now and focus on those slim typewriters that can fit anywhere in your house and easily fit into your backpack, weighing less than 4.5 kg. Now let's get down to business, as after 10 years of working with typewriters, I am confident in sharing my experience and perspective. So without further ado, let's start with our 5 slimmest typewriters, starting from the thickest between them at number 5. Coming in at number 5, we have the Antaris Portables. Now this typewriter is the epitome of one man's trash is another man's treasure. I actually got my hands on it because the previous owner wanted to dispose it and I needed one to film this video. After cleaning it up, I realized why it was on the brink of being dumped. The mechanism was barely moving and the typewriter had accumulated a lot of gunk on the inside. Now let me tell you, there's nothing positive I can say about the Antaris. Its mechanism is incredibly fragile and the loud friction noises makes it less than pleasant to type on. While it weighs 4.5 kgs with the lid on and 3.85 kgs without the lid, don't be fooled by its weight. The base may be heavy, but the internal components leave it much to be desired. And at a thickness of 7 cm, it's not even comparable to the more reliable typewriters like the Hermes Baby and the Olympia Splendid. And to add insult to the injury, the Antaris typewriter has one of the weakest line spacing mechanisms that can easily break or dent with heavy use. For someone who has worked with typewriters extensively, I have to say that Antaris makes it to my 10 worst typewriters ever made. Needless to say, I've always avoided working on them. Moving to our number 4 spot, we have the Gosen Tipa. Now this typewriter is an interesting case as it's elegant, compact and flat. It doesn't look like any other typewriter out there and I initially loved owning it. However, when it comes to typing, it's a whole different story. The Gosen Tipa, weighing at 4.6 kgs with the lid on and 3.7 kgs without the lid, boasts a depth of only 28 centimeters and a width of 29 centimeters. It's impressively thin, standing at just millimeters shy from 6 centimeters, but unfortunately it falls short in some areas. For example, the line spacing mechanism wasn't smartly designed. As the typewriter ages, the lever tends to bend due to continuous pressure, ultimately hitting the top cover and leaving marks if not readjusted and lifted up. One issue that makes me hesitant to commit to this typewriter is the carrying lid. It opens by pressing 2 buttons, one on the left and one on the right side. If you are lucky enough to have both buttons intact on your lid without being snapped, the inner clips can easily dent. This makes the process of opening and removing the lid annoying as extra pressure can damage the clips over time, and without enough pressure the lid won't open at all. Despite its flaws, the Gosen Tipa has some redeeming qualities. The glass-topped keys make for a delightful typing experience and the straight edges gives it an elegant look. Plus, who can resist the loud dinging bell that's rarely found on ultra-portable typewriters? Now we reach the third slimmest typewriter, the Groma Calibri. This typewriter may seem like a slick and stylish option, but trust me, it's not as it seems. Although the typewriter weighs 3.65 kgs and only have a thickness of 5.5 centimeters, my personal experience with this typewriter has been quite awful. In fact, I had to sell my first one as a semi-working typewriter due to multiple issues that made it unreliable and time-consuming to fix. One of the major problems I encountered with the Calibri is the carriage advancement. The size of the carriage compared to the rails and the height of the typewriter creates a lot of friction, making it sluggish and not ideal for long hours of typing. And let's not forget about the mainspring, which is one of the worst ever built for a typewriter. It's located in an extremely tight space on the left side, making it fragile and hard to fix or adjust. Another unreliable mechanism is the return lever. It's squeezed into a limited space, leading to sticking and unwanted jumps of the carriage. Now, I won't go into too much details about the spacebar mechanism, but I have to mention that it's loud and can be easily rendered useless after any small dent. Lastly, the shifting carriage on the Calibri is unexpectedly heavy for an ultra-portable typewriter. I've typed on many portables and ultra-portables, but this one is extremely heavy. Moving on to another Groma typewriter, the Gromina. While the model may be candy to the eye with its slim and portable design, it falls short in terms of functionality. Weighing only 3 kgs with its wooden base, so nearly 2.5 kgs without the wooden base, and it's the second slimmest typewriter I've ever used, as it has a height of 5 centimeters only. The first issue I noticed with the Gromina is the wide and bottomless spacebar, which is connected within the frame, and any small dent or accident can affect its functionality. Typing on the Gromina is not that bad, but the position of the key arms at 180 degrees away from its platen roller, plus the weak links underneath, makes it require more pressure for a proper strike, and a little more time to get used to typing on it. Another problem lies in the limited space to squeeze in the ribbon spools. Plastic or slightly wider spools can cause uneven movement and put pressure on the ribbon holders, especially when shifting the carriage to use the capital keys. And just like the Calibri, the return levers on the Gromina are a pain to use. They have a limited space for control and can be problematic over time. Inserting the paper and adjusting the pressure from the rubber rollers are major challenges with this slim typewriter, as when the lever gets loose as time passes by, it will not add the needed pressure on the paper, leading to alignment issues. Plus, the pinch line spacing mechanism limits the feel while typing, especially for those with larger hands and thumbs. That's a lot of no-nos when it comes to using a Groma in general and a Gromina specifically. Now let's move on to the slimmest typewriter ever made with a full keyboard, the Roy, also known as the MG Roy or Roxy. This French-made typewriter certainly wins the title in terms of slimness, with a height of 3.5 centimeters, while it's above its slip-in carrying case that has a height of 4.5 centimeters and a weight of only 3.7 kgs. The one thing I like about it, and it's worth mentioning, is the smart way the typewriter slides into the carrying lid. But unfortunately, it falls short in many other aspects. Working on a Roy can be a struggle. The flat keyboard feels hollow, and the design of the key arms is truly unique, but not in a good way. They seem to be created to fit within a tight space, but resulting in a less than desirable typing experience. Plus, the ribbon mechanism in the Roy is beyond complicated, with lots of loops and corners under the lid. It's not the most user-friendly design. Last but not least, the return lever on the Roy is unreliable, and the typewriter lacks the satisfying ding of a bell of any traditional typewriter. It's just not a typewriter I can imagine using for more than a minute. Remember, each of these typewriters has its quirks and drawbacks, but they still hold a unique place in the typewriter history, like the smallest typewriter ever made with a full keyboard that you can learn about in this video.